Imagine trading for one of the best players of his generation, agreeing to the deal, celebrating it, and then being told you cannot actually have him. That is exactly where the Toronto Raptors are right now. A blockbuster trade to bring Kawhi Leonard back to Toronto has been agreed to, and then frozen because the NBA is investigating whether the Clippers broke the rules to keep him in the first place. So today, the trade itself, why it is on ice, and the strange, tangled scandal at the center of it all. And to be clear up front, this is an open investigation. Nothing has been proven, and the Clippers deny all of it. Let's break it down. Here is the plan. First, the trade that was agreed to, then why it has been put on hold, then the actual investigation, the endorsement deal at the heart of it, and finally, what it means for everyone stuck in the middle. The reporting is from ESPN. The facts are attributed. The read on where it goes is mine. This is Game is Culture. Quick thing first, if you like the messy, complicated NBA stories explained clearly and fairly without the wild speculation, subscribe. Because this one has more layers than almost anything we have covered this offseason. Start with the trade itself, because on paper, it is a genuine blockbuster. On June 30th, the Clippers and Raptors agreed to a deal sending Kawhi Leonard back to Toronto. In return, the Clippers would get a real haul. Brandon Ingram, young wing Grady Dick, 2 unprotected first-round picks in 2031 and 2033, a first-round pick swap in 2027, and 2 second-round picks. That is a franchise-altering package for both sides. Toronto gets a superstar and a piece of its own history back. The Clippers get younger, and they get a mountain of draft capital. Everyone shook hands, and then it all stopped. And understand the caliber of player at the center of this. Kawhi Leonard just turned 35, and he is coming off the highest scoring season of his entire career, nearly 28 a game. He is a 7-time All-Star, a 2-time champion, and a 2-time Finals MVP. One of them won in Toronto back in 2019. This is not a role player, this is a legend, and a Raptors reunion story that writes itself, which is exactly why the freeze stings so much. And the main piece heading back to Los Angeles is no throwaway either. Brandon Ingram put up over 21 a game last season, with nearly 6 rebounds and 4 assists, while shooting 38% from 3. He is a legitimate number 2 scoring wing in his prime. So even the return package is headlined by a real productive player, plus a young shooter in Grady Dick and all those picks. On basketball terms, this trade makes sense for both teams. The problem was never the basketball. So if the trade is agreed and it makes sense, why is it frozen? This is where it gets complicated. According to ESPN, the trade will not be completed until the NBA finishes an investigation into whether the Clippers circumvented the salary cap. Think about how unusual that is. This is not a physical falling through or a player changing his mind. The league itself has essentially put a hold on a completed handshake deal because of a cloud hanging over one of the teams. Until the NBA rules, Kawhi Leonard is stuck in limbo, technically still a Clipper, but with one foot out the door. And here is where you see the real tension. In a statement to ESPN, the Clippers made it clear they do not want to be left holding the bag. Listen to this carefully, because it is basically a negotiation happening in public. The Raptors, for their part, are staying positive and clearly still want the deal done. Their statement was short and hopeful. So what is the investigation actually about? This is the heart of the whole story, and it is genuinely strange. Per ESPN, the NBA is looking into whether the Clippers circumvented the salary cap by funneling money to Leonard through an endorsement deal. Specifically, Kawhi had a $28 million endorsement deal with a green banking company called Aspiration. The wrinkle is that Aspiration also had a separate $300 million 23-year sponsorship deal with the Clippers themselves, and team owner Steve Ballmer had personally invested $60 million into Aspiration. The question investigators are asking is whether that endorsement was really a backdoor way to pay Leonard on top of his contract. Again, that is the allegation being examined, not a finding. Here is the sequence so it makes sense. The endorsement and sponsorship deals were in place. The league opened its inquiry. Leonard and his uncle and business advisor were interviewed by investigators. Then, in late June, the Raptors trade gets agreed to. And now, in July, that trade is frozen while the probe continues. Everything is happening at once, which is why it is such a tangle. Now the Clippers side, because fairness matters here. The Clippers flatly deny wrongdoing. They say they did not funnel money to Kawhi Leonard through aspiration. In fact, they argue they were victims themselves of a fraud carried out by an aspiration co-founder named Joe Sandberg, who has since been convicted and sentenced to 14 years in prison. And owner Steve Ballmer has said he had no knowledge of Leonard's specific endorsement deal. So their position is not just a denial, it is that they got scammed too and are being blamed for someone else's crime. The Clippers doubled down on that confidence in their statement, essentially daring the league to look at everything. So set the courtroom stuff aside for a second. What does all of this actually mean for the people caught in it? It means a lot of people are stuck. Kawhi Leonard is a superstar frozen between two teams. The Raptors have a franchise-changing reunion sitting on pause, unable to plan their roster around a player they thought they had. The Clippers cannot move forward with their retool. The young players and picks they are supposed to get are all in limbo, and they are staring at the possibility of penalties. And notice the standoff. The Clippers want Toronto to absorb the risk of any punishment. Toronto just wants the deal done. Nobody can fully move until the league speaks, and that could take a while. So how big a mess is this, really? On my meter, very big. Not because we know the outcome, we do not, but because of how rare this is. A fully agreed trade involving a legend put on hold by a league investigation into cap circumvention is about as serious as offseason news gets. Potential penalties in cases like this can range from fines to lost draft picks. The stakes here are enormous, no matter which way it breaks. So here is where I land, and I want to be careful. On the pure basketball, this trade is logical for both sides. Toronto gets a star and a storybook reunion, the Clippers get a prime scoring wing, plus a fortune in picks. If it goes through, both teams can defend it. But none of that matters until the league finishes its work. This is now a story about process and proof, not just basketball, and it is worth repeating, clearly. Nothing has been proven. The Clippers deny the accusations and say they were defrauded, and everyone deserves the presumption of innocence while the facts get sorted out. What is certain is that until that happens, one of the most interesting trades of the summer is simply on ice. And there is a bigger picture worth noting. The NBA has built an entire new system of rules to stop teams from buying their way to titles. The apron, the penalties, all of it. A case like this, where the question is whether a team found a creative way around the cap through an endorsement, is exactly the kind of thing the league feels it has to investigate hard. Because if it lets one slide, the whole system loses its teeth. So however this ends, the league is going to be thorough, and that is why nobody should expect a resolution overnight. So that is the frozen Kawhi Leonard trade, a blockbuster stuck behind a league investigation that nobody can rush. So tell me, do you think this deal eventually goes through, or does the pro blow the whole thing up? And remember, this is ongoing, so keep an open mind. Drop your take below. And we are so close to 2,000 subs, so subscribe to stay up to date.